For years, critics kept repeating the same tired argument. They said Caitlin Clark only looked unstoppable because she was dominating teenagers in college. One WNBA veteran even mocked the hype, saying anyone can look like a superhero when they're playing against 18-year-olds. According to them, the real world of professional basketball would humble her quickly. The WNBA, they warned, was a completely different beast. Faster, stronger, smarter. They believed the moment Clark stepped onto a professional court against seasoned veterans, reality would crash down on her like a brick wall. But what happened next forced the entire basketball world to rethink everything they thought they knew about Caitlin Clark. Instead of shrinking under pressure, she exploded onto the professional stage and began rewriting expectations in real time. Records started falling almost immediately. She shattered rookie records for points. She stacked assists at a historic rate. She launched three-pointers from distances that most players wouldn't even dare attempt. She even broke the WNBA record for assists in a single season, something many veterans spend entire careers chasing. The critics tried to dismiss it, calling it stat padding or lucky streaks. But the truth was becoming impossible to ignore. Caitlin Clark wasn't just surviving in the WNBA. She was transforming it. The 2024 season didn't start like a fairy tale for Clark and the Indiana Fever. In fact, it started like a nightmare. The Fever lost their first 5 games in a row. Doubters immediately jumped back into the conversation, claiming the early losing streak proved everything they had predicted. They said Clark wasn't ready for the physicality. They said her flashy college style wouldn't translate to the professional level. But then came the moment that started silencing the noise. A high-energy showdown against the Phoenix Mercury. The arena was packed and buzzing with electricity. Officially, more than 17,000 fans filled the building. But anyone watching could feel the truth. Most of them weren't there to see the Mercury. They came to witness the phenomenon that had taken women's basketball by storm. They came to see Caitlin Clark. Even though Clark entered the game feeling under the weather, she still found a way to control the entire rhythm of the matchup. Her shots weren't falling the way they normally did. She struggled from the field, making only 4 of her 14 attempts. But great players find other ways to dominate, and that's exactly what Clark did. She orchestrated the offense like a seasoned veteran, slicing the defense apart with precise passes and relentless court awareness. By the time the final buzzer sounded, Clark had posted 15 points, 12 assists, and 9 rebounds. Just 1 rebound short of a triple-double. When the Fever needed someone to step up in the closing seconds, Clark calmly walked to the free throw line and buried 2 clutch shots that sealed an 84-81 victory. It was a defining moment early in her career, and it also created an interesting storyline involving one of the greatest players the league has ever seen. Before that game, legendary Phoenix Mercury guard Diana Taurasi had delivered a warning. Taurasi, a WNBA icon with decades of experience, famously said that reality is coming for Clark. Her words echoed across sports media for days. But when the game ended, Taurasi's tone had changed completely. Instead of criticism, she offered respect. She praised Clark's competitiveness, her passion, and her ability to perform under intense pressure. It was the first major sign that even the league's toughest veterans were starting to recognize Clark's potential. And the story didn't end there. In their next matchup, Caitlin Clark elevated her performance to an entirely new level. This time, the Fever defeated the Mercury 98-89, and Clark delivered a jaw-dropping stat line of 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds. Her vision, timing, and scoring ability left Phoenix defenders scrambling to keep up. It was also Indiana's 3rd victory over the Mercury that season, completing a rare sweep that few teams managed to pull off. For a franchise led by a rookie point guard, it was nothing short of remarkable. And for Clark, it was a clear statement to the entire league. She belonged here. Even more interesting was how the matchup between Clark and Taurasi unfolded statistically. Clark dominated with a 29-point double-double performance, while Taurasi struggled to find her rhythm. The veteran finished with 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 turnovers. At one point early in the game, Taurasi's frustration boiled over, resulting in a technical foul after arguing with the officials. Meanwhile, Clark stayed calm, focused, and composed, directing the offense with surgical precision. It was a symbolic passing of the torch moment that basketball fans won't forget anytime soon. But the WNBA is full of elite teams, and sooner or later every rookie faces the ultimate test. For Clark, that test came against the defending champion Las Vegas Aces. The Aces were stacked with superstar talent, led by the unstoppable Aya Wilson, the 2023 WNBA Finals MVP. Many analysts predicted the game would expose the limitations of Indiana's young roster. Yet from the opening moments, Clark showed absolutely no fear. She launched a deep three-pointer over Kelsey Plum, instantly reminding everyone why her shooting range had become legendary during her college career. After the first quarter, Indiana surprisingly led the defending champions 28-24. Clark contributed across the stat sheet with 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists while helping the Fever dominate the rebounding battle early. Her court vision allowed teammates like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston to find open opportunities and build offensive momentum. But championship teams eventually respond, and the Aces began asserting their dominance. Aya Wilson controlled the paint with authority, finishing the game with a monstrous 29 points and 15 rebounds. Jackie Young added 22 points, while Kelsey Plum poured in 20 of her own. Despite the relentless pressure from one of the league's most powerful rosters, Clark continued battling. In the third quarter, she knocked down 2 more three-pointers that cut the deficit to just 3 points at one stage. Although Indiana ultimately lost 99-80, Clark's leadership and playmaking remained evident. Her final stat line of 8 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds might not look spectacular on paper, but the experience of facing a championship team led by an MVP like Aya Wilson became another valuable step in her development. Clark's rookie season also included one of the most anticipated debuts in Indiana sport history. When the Fever faced the New York Liberty, excitement reached levels not seen since Peyton Manning first arrived in Indianapolis decades earlier. Fans were desperate to see whether Clark could handle the pressure of the professional spotlight. Unfortunately, the game quickly turned into a brutal learning experience. The Liberty, led by two-time MVP Breanna Stewart, dominated from start to finish. Stewart delivered an unstoppable performance, scoring 31 points with incredible efficiency while controlling the tempo of the entire matchup. The Liberty crushed Indiana 102-66, showcasing the gap between a championship contender and a rebuilding team. Clark struggled with foul trouble throughout the night, which disrupted her rhythm and limited her time on the court. She finished with 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting just 2 of 8 from the field. The Liberty defense, anchored by Stewart and Jonquil Jones, suffocated Clark's offensive opportunities and forced her into difficult decisions. But even in defeat, the game served as an important lesson. Every great player experiences moments of adversity early in their career. The true measure of greatness is how they respond afterward. As the season continued, Clark faced another dramatic moment during Indiana's playoff battle against the Connecticut Sun. The Fever's postseason hopes collided with one of the league's toughest offensive teams, coached by Stephanie White. Early in the first quarter, a controversial play instantly grabbed headlines. Connecticut guard Dejanai Carrington accidentally poked Clark directly in the eye during a defensive sequence. The contact left Clark with visible swelling and a black eye that lasted for the remainder of the game. Despite the injury, Clark refused to blame the incident for her struggles. She fought through the discomfort and continued competing, even though her shooting rhythm never fully recovered. Clark missed 10 of her first 11 shots and finished with 11 points and 8 assists on 4 of 17 shooting. At one point during the third quarter, frustration boiled over. After missing another attempt, Clark slammed a chair on the sideline during a stoppage in play. It was a rare glimpse of raw emotion from the usually composed rookie guard. Interestingly, that moment seemed to spark something inside her. Immediately afterward, Clark knocked down 3 consecutive shots, showing the fierce competitive fire that has defined her career. Unfortunately for Indiana, Connecticut star Marina Mabrey took control of the game, scoring 27 points, including 11 in the decisive third quarter. The Sun ultimately secured a convincing 93-69 victory, ending Indiana's playoff journey. Even in defeat, the atmosphere surrounding Clark remained undeniable. The sold-out crowd in Connecticut included thousands of fans who had traveled specifically to watch her play. It was clear that Clark had already become one of the most influential figures in women's basketball. And no conversation about Clark's impact would be complete without mentioning one of the sport's most captivating rivalries, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. Their clashes have captured the attention of fans across the entire sports world. Every matchup between the two stars carries the intensity of a championship battle. Their Elite Eight showdown during the NCAA tournament became one of the most unforgettable games in recent basketball history. It was a rematch of the previous year's national championship, which had attracted nearly 10 million viewers. The tension was enormous. This time, Clark arrived determined to rewrite the narrative, and she delivered performance for the ages. Clark erupted for 41 points, while also recording 12 assists and draining 9 three-pointers. Several of those shots came from logo range, sending shockwaves through the arena and electrifying millions watching around the world. By the time the final buzzer sounded, Clark had once again proven something important. Whether it's college basketball, the WNBA, or the biggest stages in the sport, She thrives when the pressure is highest. And if her rookie season taught the basketball world anything, it's that Caitlin Clark isn't just another talented player entering the league. She's a generational force who is redefining the limits of women's basketball. The critics said reality was coming. What they didn't realize was that Caitlin Clark was about to change that reality forever.